All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully those people can join us in a little bit. So welcome to the Healthy School Meals Wrapping Up Your Application webinar. Thank you for joining us today. Before we go further, I want to review the functionality of GoToWebinar. Your active participation is important throughout the session, but right now I do have everyone on mute to avoid background noises that may distract you from listening to the webinar. Throughout the presentation, we will be managing the chat functionality, so you can enter your questions and comments in the question box throughout the presentation, and we will have a Q&A session at the end to answer these questions. So I wanted to get a feel for where everyone is in their application, so here's a quick test. So using the hand icon on the sidebar, please raise your hand if you've met with your food service manager and school principal. There's no right or wrong answer here. We just want to get a feel for where everyone is. All right. So if you've not met with your food service manager and school principal, that is all right. We want to catch you up to speed. So if you could, please go to the school meals homepage at the link provided at www.pta.org/schoolmeals. Here you can watch the first webinar that gives you an overview of the grant and is only about 20 minutes long. So we understand that Teacher Appreciation Week and spring break have maybe stalled some efforts. So please also reach out to us to have a chat, as we want to make sure you get a chance to get these applications in. So I'm Melissa Grudy from the National PTA Programs and Partnerships Department. We do also have Heather Parker, the Senior Manager in the Health and Safety Department, joining us today. We will be two of your primary contacts during this grant process. And we also do want to thank Pew Charitable Trust for this grant opportunity. So this webinar is really a final webinar to get you to feel the most prepared for answering the application questions and turning in that A+ application. So we'll quickly go over the grant criteria and then move on to the majority of the grant webinar, which will focus on answering those short answer questions. Then we'll have an extended Q&A session at the end, so start thinking of those questions. So for this grant, you will be assessed on your answers to the school information section for 30 points, the school meal vision section for 40 points, the agreement terms for 10 points, the agreement form for 15 points, and the W-9 form for 5 points. The first two sections are worth the most because these are the areas that are really going to set you apart from the other applicants. And so for this reason, we're going to focus mainly on these sections today. So the overall goal of the school information section is to demonstrate the strengths and weaknesses your school is facing around school meals. The beginning of the section is where you'll provide the answers to the yes or no and statistical questions, which you will have obtained from your food service manager in the initial conversations. Then the short answer question is where you will paint the picture of the challenges and needs your school is facing. This is also where you will provide the foundation for your success vision. So we will provide a little more detail in a bit, but your success vision will demonstrate what your team is hoping to achieve from this grant. You're going to provide possible solutions to the areas in need of improvement that you previously identified in the previous question. So I've grouped these sections together because these are essentially free points for you guys. As long as you complete the sections, you will be awarded the points. For the agreement form, this is provided on the school meals homepage and will need to have the signatures of your food service manager and school principal in order to demonstrate their commitment to this grant opportunity. The grant agreement terms are a check yes or no response on the application, and this shows that you are committing to the key grant requirements. And the W-9 form also has to be submitted in order for us to ensure that you are able to receive grant funding. The grant agreement form and the W-9 form will have to be scanned and uploaded to your application. So to make it easier on yourself, upload those before you start the application for easy upload. So now onto the short answer questions. I'm going to give you a little more detail and a few examples on how to best prepare your answers for these sections. The school information section is essentially your foundation to your success vision, which pulls everything else together. So we want to make sure we have built that strong foundation before moving on to the success vision. As we previously stated, this short answer section will paint the picture of how your school is doing right now. Remember back to the conversation you had with your food service manager, especially those questions on the second page of the food service conversation starter document. Those are the questions that are going to give you the answers to this section. So first, we do want to hear a little about the strengths, so maybe a few sentences for that. But then we really do want you to move on to the challenges and needs that your school is facing, as this is a section that you're going to work to improve. So let's do a quick example. I'm sure a lot of you have had some clear ideas or ideas where you do want to improve, but if not, don't worry, we're going to give you a clear format here. So here's what I've gathered from my hypothetical conversation with my principal and food service manager. We have some strengths. The meals are meeting the nutrition standards, and the food service team expressed that their training needs and equipment needs are met. But we are facing some challenges. Participation in the school lunch program is low. The parents' feelings towards the meals have decreased, and the students aren't too fond of the meals anymore. So I took what I gathered from the conversations and did a quick list of what we discussed. So now we are going to get ready to write the responses. As we said before, provide a few sentences on the strengths, then dive into the needs and challenges. Then when you have picked out the needs and challenges you want to focus on, add some bullets that support each little topic. So I pulled out my weaknesses that I want to focus on. First, the students' and parents' perceptions are fairly low, so a few supporting details are as provided here. And this is an example of possibly a response I could include on the application. Our school has made great strides in recent years. The food service team is well trained and their equipment needs are met, and the team swiftly adopted the school meal nutrition standards. Despite these strengths, we are still facing setbacks. Perceptions of the school meals decreased when the food service team made the transition and meet the new school meal nutrition standards. Some of the favorite meals were altered or removed in order to meet these standards, and then when the food service team has tried to introduce new meals, there's been no response from the students. Our food service team does not know what to do in order to grab the attention and to get students trying the foods again. Because perceptions of the quality meals has decreased, so has participation in the school lunch program. And most students who do participate are qualified for free and reduced lunch. Unfortunately, because students who are participating are predominantly free and reduced, there has been a recent development of a stigma towards the students who purchase the lunch. So this is just a really quick example, and this response was only about 179 words, and you do get up to 250 words for a section. So really try to paint that picture with supporting details. And also for the ease of this webinar, I only included 2 major points. This is not a magic number. It's really up to you guys to feel out what your food service manager explained as the needs and challenges you guys are really facing. Okay, so the second short answer question is your success vision. This is what you are hoping to achieve through this grant. Really, what are you going to improve? So however, because more assessment happens when you receive the grant, this is just to get your team thinking and show us that you are aiming for long-term sustainable improvements. So you're not going to be held to carrying out your success vision if you are awarded the grant, but really this is to illustrate your team's capacity. So students don't love the meals and our participation is low. Our end goal is for students to love the meals and see increased participation in the school lunch program. So start by saying what you are hoping to achieve, that big picture, and then narrow in the specifics. So we are hoping to increase the students' and parents' perceptions of the school meals by improving the meal quality and having the students be a part of the process. By increasing their perceptions, we expect to see an increase in participation in the school lunch program because more students will want to try these lunches and parents will understand the benefits of the program. So from here, you could provide some details to support how you'd get from point A to point B, but remember these are not concrete. So let's look at a few examples. So one strategy would be to get the students involved. Having a sense of responsibility in the process can open them up to trying the foods again. So maybe we want to work with the food service manager to pick out the meals that aren't doing too well and the meals that are doing very well. To get the students involved, we could host a monthly recipe contest where students are able to submit their recipes that meet the nutrition standards to the food service team. The food service team could then pick their favorite recipe to try out that next month. And then we could have the math class work to scale up the recipe in order to feed the school lunch for that day. Then to highlight the meal, maybe the art classes could create flyers or creative names to showcase the meal. Then maybe the students could vote on whether or not they would like to see that meal become part of the monthly rotation, and we can start to replace those less favorable meals that we initially gathered in the beginning. Also, maybe my local high school has a great culinary class or home economics class. We could partner with them in order to give in order for them to give us some ideas of makeovers for the recipes. They would still have to stay within the nutrition standards, but maybe they have some great ideas for herbs to add or seasoning that could increase the meal quality. Or maybe there's a PTA or parent superstar who would love to take on this task. So on top of the other strategies, we need to increase the parents' perceptions as they are the ones who influence meal choices. There was a lot of talk around the time the nutrition standards were updated about parents not thinking the meals were as good. These perceptions have an effect on our kids as well. So maybe we could host lunch dates a few times this semester where parents are encouraged to come have lunch with their kids. Maybe the PTA could work with the school to co-host a session at the parent-teacher night in the beginning of each semester in order to highlight the strides the food service team has made in order to improve the school meals. But most importantly, be creative. You guys are the ones that are on the ground. You know what the needs and challenges your school is facing. So put your thinking caps on and try to develop those turnkey solutions. Just remember to think sustainably, as we do want to improve school meals to come. And also, if you're not really sure if you're headed in the right direction for your success vision, reach out to us and we can help you get to where you guys need to be. So some final tips: make those bullet points and then go and add the supporting detail. This will help ensure that your responses are well thought out. And then also have your answers completed in a Word document and then copy and paste them into the application once you get started. Also remember that once you start the application, you have to complete it in one sitting or all of your work will be lost. So this is another reason to type it out before moving into the application. And finally, like I just said, reach out to us if you guys have any questions or concerns. We do want to help you turn in the best application you guys can. So our contact information is there for you, and also you can get the contact information by going to our homepage at www.pta.org/schoolmeals. And then finally, on to a few questions we have received. So, is the grant only for elementary or Title I schools? No, actually all K through 12 are eligible to apply for this grant. So where do I apply? Go to the School Meals homepage and follow the Apply Now button there in the middle. And this is also at the link that I just described, www.pta.org/schoolmeals. And another one is, can we use the money to host dinners for the PTA or provide snacks for the students? So the grant funds are to be utilized to make these long-term improvements. So using money towards snacks would quickly be eaten through. So we do suggest that when you're formulating your success vision, that you do think about those long-term improvements. So the grants can't be used for food directly. So what is the Alliance for a Healthier Generation assessment tool? So this tool is used to assess your school meals and develop your action plan. This is really great at understanding the cafeteria environment, trying to find any needs and challenges that your food service team is facing, and it really helps identify the areas in need of most improvement. So upon receiving the grant acceptance, you will complete this along with a few other assessment tools that we will be providing to you guys, and this can really help just make sure the action plan is geared towards the pressing needs your school is facing. So what if we are transitioning PTA leadership positions? So you can meet up with your upcoming board to ensure that this project is something that they are going to fully carry on, because we don't want all the hard work that you guys are putting in to just be dropped off. So make sure they are on board with this as well. All right, and finally, I'm going to open the floor for you guys to answer some questions. So thank you for listening thus far. If you guys don't have any questions, that is all right. You can use our contact information if you do think of any. I will hang out and so will Heather for a few minutes longer. But if no questions are coming up, you guys can feel free to jump off the webinar. But thank you for participating and listening in on this webinar. We will have this posted to our School Meals homepage probably today or tomorrow, so you guys can keep an eye out for that.